Here we are, Ananias Street. Ananias, by the way, when St. Paul was on the road to Damascus, and he was struck blind by the appearance of Christ on the road, asking him, "Why do you persecute me?" When Saul, at that time, became Paul through that magical act of revelation, he was blinded for 3 days, and he wandered into the city of Damascus. And Ananias was a poor peddling shopkeeper into whose shop Paul staggered. And he's the first person that heard Paul's tale. And he's actually, in that sense, the first Christian convert, because Paul is the creator of Christianity. And that's ironic because here, let's see, on Ananias Street, 3A Ananias Street, is Nuahj, right there. Looks far, far different than it did at the time. But it was a duplex that Greg and I and his sister Diana rented in early 1990, March of 1990, because we needed a place where we could have the cosmic on 24/7 in a full-on cult scenario with no normal rules of reality intruding, let's say. And by this time, 1990, the cult scenario had grown far beyond just Greg, Jeff, and I. It included Allison, my girlfriend at the time, John Patsfield, my collaborator from the drama club in Westerly High School, who would later turn out to be a backstabbing Judas of our group. But Nuahj was a very special and unique scenario where we created a bubble reality within which normal rules, regulations, and concepts of what is real, what is not, what is fiction, what is fact, what is imaginary, what is, solid and normal, all these things ceased to exist, and all these divisions and dualities became meaningless in the face of an unfolding plot-level scenario of staggering proportions. Staggering. And I must get the Old Cosmic Testament here, just to give you a taste of what's going on here. All these pages, and I'll give a full walkthrough of the Old Cosmic Testament soon enough. But all these pages here, all of this stuff is artifacts and records of the time. These, for example, tales recorded from the cosmic spirits who told us one thing or another about their history, about their supposed lineages, etc. And here we can see this, by the way, just as a side note. All these faces here represent different masks that Ross wore at one time or another, okay? Here we see his Peter the Great Tsar Abraxas side. Here is his Nietzschean Superman dashing Gaston side. Here's his vampire body. Here's his evil satanic Matthew side. I'll explain Matthew and all that later. Here's his above the law pirate self. Here's his scholarly Jungian, book learning self, and here's him in the sage meditative role. But Nuahj here, genealogy of Nuahj. This contains a complete list of all the beings and figures that were in play. Obviously, it's a big list. And this shows all the interconnections. And we ourselves are on this list. Here I am, Steve P., for example. Right? Here's Greg. Okay? Etc. John Patsfield is here. All these characters, all this stuff that was going on. A cornucopia of cult insanity. No way to possibly sum it up quickly. All you can do is look and marvel at the madness unleashed in that house all these factors came into play, and it was a mad frenzy of different beings being channeled. There were quasi-satanic characters working for Anton LaVey. There were vampires. There were, hangers-on from our various social circles who got sucked in one form or another. It was a wonderful, happy parade of many things. The whole cult lasted a certain amount of time, from March through early December of 1990. And by the end of it all, we had unearthed and revealed so many different forms of plot levels, so many different schemes, everything from ancient Egypt and aliens from Sirius and Hitler and all kinds of stuff going on. Ghosts of the dead, ghosts and spirits of other people alive who were astral projecting into Nuahj to interact with us as either friend, foe, or collaborator. So much going on, I can't even begin to tell you. But the end result was Nuahj itself became an interface of many different realities and many different doors. Just for example, 2 different parallel realities at once in the bathroom, which I wish we could go in there and film, but that's not going to happen. The bathroom downstairs was turned into an interface between 2 different realities. Parallel Universe A, Parallel Universe B. In Parallel Universe A, the cosmic was much more intense, fierce, and out of control. In Parallel Universe B, it was operating under a whole different set of rules, and it was a calmer, more controlled and mundane reality. So if things were too intense in Parallel Universe A, we could one at a time go into the bathroom and come back out, and now we're in Parallel Universe B, and we're in a holding pattern. We have a safe haven from the madness happening in Universe A. And there was also, in the International House of Pancakes, which I hope to get over there to film some stuff in there, or outside of there, we also had the 2 realities in the bathroom interfacing, so that if we were at our primary location of Nuahj, or the backup location in Groton where IHOP was, we could be moving back and forth between the 2 parallel universes depending on what the plot dictated. For example, if satanic stooges on the payroll of Anton LaVey were coming after us in Parallel Universe A, and we needed to regroup and converse and discuss things in such a way that we couldn't be overheard by them, we actually had to move into Parallel Universe B. Why? Because LaVey had reptilian shapeshifters on his payroll, and they could be anybody in the restaurant. They could be impersonating somebody in the peripheral circles who might have been walking by. So you couldn't trust of course, that sounds like madness, okay? But in a plot level scenario, you have to act as if it's all real. Otherwise, you might as well just give it up. You can't be doubting the existence of a being that you're battling if your point is you need the information he's going to give you, because whether or not it is what it claims it is doesn't change the fact that what it's saying is what you need to find out. So there's a whole bunch of rules that need to be suspended. Suspension of disbelief in a cult scenario is essential, which is why, of course, all cults begin with the cult members isolating themselves from anybody who's going to doubt. And we did do that, and it cost us heavily in personal relationships. But it all crashed and burned in December of 1990, right at the beginning of what would become the Amber War period, where the ante was up considerably by the creation of the chart and a whole bunch of other stuff, but I can't go there yet because we're still on the old cosmic historic track here. So we're going to pause to the park.